Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Monday night live stream here at Joe Daddy's Garage. It's been a good weekend. It's been a good day, and I'm pretty excited. Now, if it's your first time here, then you'll learn that we talk about classic cars for the most part: Mustangs, Camaros, Mopars, Studebakers, whatever comes to mind, and we focus on cars from the '60s, maybe '50s, some '70s, and try to keep our focus on that. So if you have ideas or questions or comments, by all means, share them with the group. And, at times we have people ask questions new to the group, and we try to answer those. So if I can answer the question, I get a bell. If somebody else answers the question, they get a bell. And that way, everybody gets a bell. If you're, doing the right thing. Good answers out there. But anyway, it's been a good weekend. It really has. And I'll just do this real quick just to say, because of that is why it's been a good weekend. That's really all I need to say. I think that's all I really need. Of course, it does look blue, and it's not blue. I'm telling you right now, it's not blue. But that is why it's been a good weekend. More on that later. Let's see who's here. Okay, first up, Crash Rider. Good afternoon from Southern Indiana. Rumor has it that Joe Daddy will give away a hat to the first person to find a flaw in his paint job. Your choice of hat color. I don't know where that rumor came from. Don, hello Barry, everyone. Don and Betsy checking in from Portland. Mother's Day went well, weather good, and Betsy is throwing curves at me. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Bob, Noel. Good evening, sir. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing? Got to go walk the dogs, but I'll be back for the show. Cool. Roger checking in from next door. Glad you're here. Dave Conville, first Dave sighting. We'll give a Dave bell to Dave Conville. We'll see how many Daves show up tonight. Phil, MIM so. Hey, gang, greetings from Northern California. What flaw? Well, trust me, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect paint job, but it's pretty good. Bob Shoemaker, good evening from Oklahoma. What color? That color sure looks good in the car and not in the can anymore. I agree with that 100%. Roger saying he's sworn to secrecy. Yeah, he knows where the flaws are. Gordon, hello, Team Joe Daddy from Buffalo, New York. Glad you're here. Sammy Lisa Smith, hello, everyone. Wally, hey, everyone. Hey, everyone from the Great White North. If you haven't been following Wally, you need to be. I'm just telling you. If you haven't been, you need to be checking out his stuff. He's actually, I like what he's doing right now. He's working on his jet ski. Well, the reason he's doing that is he's prepping himself for the paint process. So he wants to make sure he can spray paint properly. And rather than try it out on a Mustang first, he'll do it on that jet ski and make sure it works out. If there's any problems, he can solve it at that point. He's doing a great job with that. So give him a follow if you haven't already. March Indy, Barry, the paint looks awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm pretty darn happy with it. I will say that. Michael, hey guys and gals. I don't know how to say it. Michael Rajka. Not sure how to say that, but glad you're here. Jay looks great. Good job. Good evening from Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Dan checking in from across the pond, way across the pond, desert land. Glad you're here. Let's see. Wally, reflection is laser straight. Great job. Thank you. Steve Dickerson, hello from Dallas, Fort Worth. Glad you're here. Hello from Ohio, and Jade looks great. Thank you, Fast and Furious. Ish checking in. Hello, everyone. Harvey, Raleigh Cat Garage. Hello, Barry from the only Harvey. That's true. So you get the only Harvey bell. Dale, hello from still windy Northern California. Glad you're here. Rick Stevenson checking in. Emil, does anyone know anything about the offset spindles? Like, will they add tracked width versus stock spindles? That's a good question. I don't have a good answer. The only offset I know about is a vertical offset. Are you talking about like front to rear? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. You're talking about add track width. So maybe I'm not thinking of the same spindles, but if anybody has some information for Emil on the offset spindles, by all means, share with us, please. Steve Dickerson, I really like that pink color. You know what? I do too. I was concerned about it. I really was. I'd sprayed the hood and the deck lid, and wait a minute. I thought I had Jerry checking in. Yeah, I already said Jerry checked in. He said, Jay looks great. Canadian from Middle Tennessee. Sorry. If I missed you, sorry, Jerry, but I'm glad you're here. But I was concerned, Jerry check in. Maybe a Jerry Bell. Maybe that's what you're asking for. I'll give you, wait a minute. I'll give you a Jerry Bell. How about that? Hope that works. Let's see. Dan, is that color a stock Ford color? I don't remember seeing on anything. It is. Now, I say it is. The color is called Gulfstream Aqua or Aqua Blue Poly. Those are the two trade names. That is a factory color. In fact, we had pictures I showed last week. These are Mustangs that had that color on them. And there's going to be variations. I will say that, because you can look it up. If you look up the color on the internet, you're going to see variations of these colors. So even what you're seeing right there is slightly different than what I have. Now, of course, it's not blue. I'm telling you, it's not blue. It is definitely green. It looks more like that. But yes, to answer the question, it is a factory color. And that's what color the car was originally. So that's another reason I liked it. Dawn, pretty darn happy. High praise indeed. Yes. Thank you. And Jerry, yes. Michael, 69 to 70 Shelby's came in that color. Yep. Jack W checking in. Hey, Barry, good evening. Glad you're here, Jack. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, I was a little worried about how the car was coming out. I had, done all the prep work, I'd done more prep work, and then I did more prep work. And then on top of that, I did more prep work and then some more after that. So it was a few days, literally, of me just making sure things were going to go smooth. Because, I painted the hood and the deck lid. I had trash in both of those. Lots of trash. It'll clean up, but lots of trash. And so I don't think I've ever prepared more to paint a vehicle than this one. Honestly, I went and I have it all on time lapse. I will say I did not make a paint specific video. I know people want to see that stuff, but my mind was so focused on the task at hand that I even mentioned it in the video that I did make. I was not going to drag around a camera and hold it or, aim it and worry about it. And I just did not even want to have that in my mind. So I set up my time-lapse camera and I showed, everything on that time-lapse is going to be from getting it in the garage to cleaning it, masking it, prepping the booth, prepping the car, and going over and over and over, blowing out all the stuff that was involved with making it work. And so, again, I was not worried about having, all these different camera angles and stuff. I just couldn't because I already knew I had concerns with the hood and the deck lid. And I wanted to eliminate as much of that as I could from the car, because that's a lot more work. When you think about it, trash in a hood or deck lid, that's all vertical, vertical, horizontal plane. So you can work down on it easier than if you had it on the side of a car with all those body shapes and everything. And if that was full of trash, trying to buff all that, it's granted, it's going to get color sanded and buffed anyway. But if it had tons and tons of trash, it would be more challenging and more difficult. So anyway, I was spraying the car and I laid down 3 coats of color because I wanted to make sure I had coverage. The problem I had, and I talk about this a little bit, Um, the problem I had was I did not use a sealer. You know, I've debated on using sealer in the past, and I have used sealer on another project, and I had issues, and so I was very hesitant to try to use a sealer because I did not want to have to redo everything. I mean, I was just really kind of panicking on that thought of using a sealer. But I ended up taking, I had the car in 2K high build, and I thought, well, I have some areas that I broke through. I need to cover that. I'm going to just mix up some more 2K and just spray it on. So I did, thinking 2K and 2K, it all goes together. And I wet sanded it, and I did everything, all the prep work. And what I ended up with was a textured edge, let's say. So if you can imagine, let's say I just touched up a spot and I had sprayed, high build on top, and then I, sanded it, but I ended up with an edge, just a shadowy looking edge. And I thought, will this hide? In fact, I called Harvey on it because Harvey had done paint work before. And I said, what do you think? And he was like, you might want to look at doing some sealer. Pretty sure that's what his thoughts were. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. So I sprayed on all the base, and sure enough, all those little areas just showed up. And I was like, oh, now what do I do? Now what do I do? One thought was to go ahead and spray the clear, because clear acts as a sealer, believe it or not. You could actually spray something with clear, seal it in, and then resand to clear, and it's almost like starting over. In most cases, that'll work fine. And I thought, well, if I have to, I'll reshoot it. I'll just clear it and go from there. Well, then, Harvey and I talked about it, and he had some ideas, and I had some ideas, and I ended up taking 1,200 wet sand, and I went over those areas very carefully. In fact, I went over a good bit of the car with 1,200 wet. Just because if there was anything that was in the paint, it had to go. So I did the whole thing, and then I talked about it in I think in my Patreon video. I did what would be called a dry spray, in effect. And what that means is, let's say you're spraying at something, and you've got a pattern going, and you're moving back and forth and doing your pattern, or just coverage, but you're X distance away from the panel. Well, what I did is I pulled away from the panel, and I kind of feathered it, kind of just dusted over those areas a bit. And what that does is allows the paint to kind of stand up a little bit on top of those, areas. And it worked. I mean, I just kind of dusted it with the paint, and it covered all those areas everywhere. It worked out. So then, of course, I, clear coated it and just held my breath and hoped that nothing would get in it. And I was very surprised. And look, when I tell you I went over the top with preparation, I not only cleaned everything, I cleaned out the front garage as much as I could, blew all the junk out of it as best I could. I wet the floor in the paint booth. I put paper from everywhere. I had it underneath the rockers coming down, taped to the floor. I built, I didn't have these before, but I built shrouds around my fans blowing out. I didn't even think about that before, because the window, there was openings on the side. And so I made cardboard shrouds that would keep anything from coming back at me. So I did all that. I even readjusted the door, the garage door on the end of the booth, because I noticed there was a slight gap. I have a rubber seal on the outside, and I saw some light coming through. I took the garage door loose and adjusted it so that the gap was tighter, and just tried to eliminate that. And then I even went so far as I bought bug spray. I bought some bug spray. I went all around the door, outside, around the perimeter. I went on the inside of the door, on the floor, and up the sides. My entry door, I sprayed bug spray all around it. I tried to eliminate anything that could come to mind that could cause a problem. And when I talked about the hood and the deck lid, I had that fan blowing through the wall. I did not put that fan on, obviously, and that helped a lot. And then, like I said, I wet the floor. I took a squeegee and I spread the water all over the floor. Just anything I could think of to try to eliminate problems, and it paid off. It paid off. I can say that. And Roger's seen the car. There's, minimal trash in this car anywhere. There's a few runs. There's a couple sags on the door, which is okay, but there's also on the fender, because the fenders I had to paint. I had the car facing this direction, let's say, and the fenders were behind. Well, the one fender was closer to the wall, and I could not get as far away, let's say, as I needed to see properly. And so there's a run on that driver's side fender on the lower section. I don't care. A run means I got plenty of clear, in essence. So I've taken out runs before. I'm not afraid of the runs on the paint, on the clear and stuff. But I'll get that all taken care of. I'm still going to color sand and buff this car and be ecstatic about it. Some of the things I have to do in the meantime, I plan to, I'm going to go ahead and paint the dash, because I talked about that before. I'm going to take care of it right now. In fact, I was working on it today, prepping everything, getting stuff out of the way. And I have that single stage black. I'm just going to paint the dash, make sure that's done. And then the reason for that, there's multiple reasons. But if I'm going to color sand and buff, you sling stuff all over the place. You can get polish and stuff all over. I don't want anything on that dash. So while I don't have any stuff in the air or on the car, I can take care of that dash and then cover it up and not have any contaminants, because if I did it now, I could get junk in there and then try to spray it and it would blister or cause problems. So again, strategy involved. Eliminate the variables. That's kind of a, I don't know what you call it, Six Sigma. Is that right, Roger? Six Sigma? Eliminate the variables type of thing? I don't know. But that's what I did. And I'm more than happy with how it turned out. Emil is asking about for frame out towards fenders. He's talking about the spindles that would offset and make the track, I guess, wider. It was the question. And I'm not familiar with those, so I really don't have a good answer on that. Jack, has the missus seen it yet? Yes, she has. And she's happy with it. She doesn't get nearly as excited as I do. She's seen me work on cars for years and years and years and years. And cars are not, they're just part of her life. She doesn't, we could go to a car show and I could say, oh, there's a so-and-so, that car's worth $500,000. And she's like, why? I'm like, oh, I don't know. So she doesn't get nearly as excited about these things as you or I probably get excited. But Emil, instead of using wheel spacers, set the wheels out further. Okay. So I have not messed with that kind of spindle. So I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not even familiar with that. Somebody making those. So if anybody has worked on it, uses spindles for a wider track, make a comment for Emil here. Dale, when I bought my 67 Mustang in 72, it was Jade's new color. Cool. Very cool. Bad Harry checking in. Glad you're here. Hope all is well. Steve, that's smart. Good thinking to keep the bugs away. Yeah. Oh man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Paint is the most stressful thing for me. Most stressful thing for me. I think back to like stuff I did in the military where you're being tested on stuff or you have to be timed or your skill set is challenged or whatever. And none of that ever bothered me. None of that, because my training was such that I was able to trust in what I knew, in the process. So I mean, I had like interactions with generals, which when you're a specialist or PFC in a military, you're communicating with a general about something. Um, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So, I'd have instances like that, and I would just go with the flow and do my thing, and everything worked out, and didn't worry about it. But a lot of that is the fact that your skill set and what you've been taught or trained. It's just like working at the airline. I'm popping in a part in an oven that's worth $250,000, $500,000. It's up to me to make sure that part is operated or running correctly in the heat treat furnace. No, it never bothered me. I just, hey, yeah, boom, here it goes. I know what I'm doing. But I've said it before. I don't consider myself a high-end professional painter by any means. I know what I've learned and gleaned over the years from seeing stuff done, working at the body shop, and a lot of these guys have gone to school for this stuff. So when it comes down to which reducer do you use with, or which reducer do you use with this temperature, this humidity, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I'm just, but that's just how I am. But like I said, that's the most stressful thing for me. Bad Harry, what do you mean by color sanding? Is that just sanding clear coat? Yes. Basically, yes. I'll be wet sanding. If you go back, I think I know I have videos. I don't know how much detail I went into on those, on the Mystique videos. I color sanded that whole car. And I may even go back and check those videos because I don't remember everything that I did. When you only do something once every few years, you don't remember all the details. So when I did that car, I think I wet sanded it 2 or 3 different times. I started with one grit, went to a higher grit, and then a higher grit. And then, of course, you hit it with the buffer, and then the polisher. And again, there's a sequence to this madness. But that is what it means is and I know the term, it says color sanding, and some people can relate that to, let's say you had a single stage paint with no clear coat. Well, technically you're sanding the color whenever you're doing it. You're not sanding the clear, you're actually sanding the color. And then you have to buff and polish that and get it back to, luster. So I guess that's how the term came about with color sanding. Randall checking in from Utah. Glad you're here. I hope the Cougar is doing well. Bad Harry, I heard that you should ground the vehicle before painting it to eliminate static from all the sanding and wiping. Yeah, I've heard that. I've never done that. We never did that like in the paint booth or anything. And I don't know. Somebody had commented that if you took and sprayed the car with alcohol, that it would kill all the static in the air. And I Googled that. I'm like, is this going to work? And so I heard mixed results, and I just said, not going to try it. I am not going to try it. I'm going to go with what I know and go from there. But I mean, it probably makes sense to ground the vehicle. I agree. Jeff, awesome, man. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that very much. That's a good thing. I like that. Thank you. Brian, email, you need to be careful and wheel spacers. Oh, I'm not email. It says email, but it's supposed to be email. You need to be careful with wheel spacers or spindle placement as it affects suspension geometry, even spring rate. Good point. Good point. Jessica, hey there, just dropped off my truck driver. Listening in on the way home. I'm glad you're here. Well, Jessica, I don't know how much you've heard, but obviously I've been talking about the paint process on Jade and how it looks. And I posted pictures on media and different stuff, but let me show you again. Look at that. I'm pretty excited about that. And now it even looks better. The reason I say that, I have not done anything else to it yet, but with all the paper removed and the doors, because I had already painted them on the inside, the trim, now, I've taken off from a different angle. You can see the inside of the door in the black. and I'm pretty excited about how the black is gonna, pop against the aqua. Aqua. It's not blue. It's aqua. But anyway, so the next step for me is prepping the dash, like I said, and I'll paint the dash and I'll paint the glove box, and I'll go ahead and paint the um, finish panels in the quarter. They're already black, but they're kind of scuffed. So I'll just clean those up and shoot them all with that single stage that I have and make everything match. And then it's just like, okay, start doing little check marks. This is done. Okay, this is done. Now, another thing I need to do while I'm working on the doors, the dash and stuff, my mind is telling me, okay, I'm going to be sanding and buffing the car. I can't have the doors bouncing around. I could put something underneath the door and like wedge it so that it's, kind of stays shut. But more than likely, it's my best interest to put the latches back in. Then it takes you to another thing. Well, what is your what should you do with the latches? So like in other cars, I sandblasted the latches, cleaned them up, I just painted them black and put them in the car. The originals would have been kind of a gold anodized look to them. I think somebody sells that as a paint, but I don't know that I really want to be that worried about it. I've thought about just doing a what's the word? Like a metal flake silver, like a metallic silver on the door latches. I don't know that I want them black. And I don't know that, silver comes to mind just because it's a metal, it's a metal finish. So I'll probably clean those up and get those painted in the silver. Same way with the strikers. I'll probably paint those silver as well. And then I can, make the door function. Then I can start sanding on it, as I get there. But thank you, Jessica. Yes, it looks really good. Samuel Lisa Smith, how long will you let it cure before you cut and buff? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't remember how long I've waited in the past. Obviously, I can't have, the runs have to cure. I can't deal with the runs or the sags until they are cured up enough that sanding on them won't cause them to mush or change shape. So it'll probably be sometime next week, that I get into it. The clear coat was sprayed yesterday. Was it? Yeah, yesterday. So, give it a few days and then I'll see what it looks like. Now, again, I'll probably go back to my Mystique videos and watch what I've done there. Like I said, if I don't do something every week or whatever, I'm not going to probably remember all the details that I put into it. It's not like for me, it's like welding. I can just pick up a welder and go. But when it comes to doing these other things like the paint work and of course, body work, I don't have a problem with, but the paint process and the cut and buff and all that's where it's kind of like, let me think about that a minute. Cause I don't, it's not something I do every week or every month or maybe even every year, so it's just kind of things I have to keep track of with even my own videos. In fact, I was looking at the taking out the ignition switch today. I've done it before. But I had some confusion. And the reason I had some confusion, my key that is in the ignition right now, it's a square key. It has that offset, key function, whatever it is, the way Ford made them so you could turn them over. The key would turn like you're going to start the engine, fine. And I know there's an accessory location. It would not turn back. Well, to take that ignition switch out, you have to be able to turn the key back to the accessory function. I'm like, something's wrong here. And then I thought, well, before I get too carried away, let me look it up. So I looked up on YouTube, found my video of taking out the ignition switch out of the 65 Mustang that I did years ago. And sure enough, you have to turn it to accessory and to push pin, unlock it, get it out of there. I was like, man, something's not right. So then I went to I looked on my keychain, and there was another key, same key now, same square body, same offset, because the trunk key and the door key or ignition key are different. And I put that key in and I turned it, and it turned smooth. So all because the other key had some sort of problem with it. I was almost ready to, I could have done something really dumb. So then I was able to turn that key and, of course, use a paper clip and pull out the lock and undo the ignition switch and get it out of there. And then the other thing was the headlight switch. That's a little bit different, but it came apart fine, no problem. So once all that stuff is now out of the way, I even took the steering column and I took all the bolts out so I could drop the steering column down about 3 inches. I loosened up the plate on the firewall to give it a little flexibility. I don't want to take it all the way out. All I want to do is really scuff it carefully, get paint or on the column, underneath the dash area and stuff like that, and get all that back together and be done with it. Again, that'll be a little check mark off the list. Bed Harry, very, very nice job on the easy part of the painting. Easy part, the painting. Your body and prep work is showing through as it looks fantastic. Yes. I've said it before, and I I don't think anybody can argue with it. I'll say anybody can paint. I mean, really, but it's all the prep work. All the prep work before is what makes the difference. Because if you've got a wavy car, if you got stuff you've missed, anything, it doesn't matter how good a painter you are, you're not going to fix it. You're just not going to fix it. Willie Goodman, good evening. Good evening, all. Jade is looking great. Yes, I agree. And yeah, I want to get it together, but I have to be conscientious. Maybe that's the word today, conscientious. I can't get in a hurry at this point. Nope. I'm going to have to, take my time, get it, get the color sand and buff done. Focus on, the process of getting everything put together. So as an example, I don't want to put the fenders on the car yet because even though I don't anticipate any problems, I want to get the windows back in the doors. And the reason I say this is if I put the windows back in and the door needs some adjustment, because I know I have them adjusted right where I want them right now. But we all know when you add in the weight of the window, it can shift the back of the door a little bit. Even though I have everything painted, everything's clear coated around the hinges, all that stuff, I didn't do any final prep with the weight of the windows in the doors. So what that means is there's a possibility. If I put the windows in and it wants to drag that door down, I'll have to do what I need to do and take those bolts loose on the upper part of the hinge and just give it a grunt, lock it back in, and see if that settles it. So if you put the fenders on and then you start working on the glass, well, you might be taking the fenders back off because you can't get to those bolts easily with everything put in place. So again, sequence is scored. Military phrasing, sequence is scored. So whenever you're doing these things, think about it. Just think about the process. It'd be easy to say, "Oh, I'm going to put the hood on and the deck lid on and the fenders on, and start bolting on the headlights and put taillights in place." All this stuff, and then suddenly you go, "Oh, wait a minute!" And now is not the time to be backtracking. It's got to be a progression going forward, step by step by step. That is why I even went so far. I think I don't know if I posted them before. I test fitted I drilled the holes for the mirrors. I have those new mirrors that have the turn signals built in. The LED turn signals. Well, you definitely don't want to be drilling holes after you've painted the car. You don't want to drill holes whenever you have to run a wire inside the door, out the front of the door, into the A-pillar. You don't want to do that after everything's painted. So it's just one of those things. You just keep moving on that chain and getting things done. But that's just part of the process. So once I get all that stuff done and get, again, color sand and buff, get the glass in, I could do stuff now just because I could put in the stainless trim around the door opening. I could put in the seals. I could do all that. I don't want to put the deck lid on yet because it needs buffed, but I want to make sure that the deck filler panel is free of trash. Well, what gets in your way with that? The hinges. So if I don't think I showed it, but what I did, I took the hinges, and normally what I would do is put the push them down and take a block of wood at a triangle, in the trunk, and make the block of wood hold them down underneath the flange of the trunk opening. And I was, I've done that before and I've been okay with that. But then I was like, I just don't want to deal with something shifting loose or moving, and causing a problem. So I took two come-alongs, or little ratchet straps. This just came to me as I was doing this. This is a great idea, I must admit. Clark, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. This is a great idea, I think. Those little ratchet straps. What I did is I hooked into the upper hole on the deck lid, the hinge. I hooked into that, and then your bracket that holds your bumper mount. There's actually a hole in that. I hooked in there, took the ratchet strap, pulled those hinges down. Now they're below the plane of the deck lid, and boom, it's all hidden, out of the way. The nice part about that is when I go to buff, those hinges are down and out of the way. I don't have those blocks of wood in there where I could be buffing and they vibrate loose and fly out at me. So there's a tip for you. Let's see. Shin says he agrees. Okay. I don't know which part, but I'm glad you agree. Jeff, regarding the door latch plating, I think some parts for the latches were zinc plated and some were nickel plated. That could be. Willie, one of the best things I've learned from you so far, Barry, take your time, think things out. Thanks for all you do, sir. Yes. And I'm probably, and not that I'm here to pat myself on the back about it, but I'm probably well known for that process, as about how I visualize things, and that's from years of working on cars, working on airplanes, being in the military, a lot of different things. And, when I do make a mistake, I remember that. And I try to make sure other people don't find that or, have that opportunity. I try to share enough information that, people don't have that same issue down the road. Randall, 63 watching and only 20 likes. Yeah, what's up with that? We got to get that number up. Let me see here. Jeff, you can get a kit from Caswell Plating for around $200 if you're interested in going that direction. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go that direction. I'm really thinking they would look okay with a silver, maybe the hammered metal look. You know what I mean? They sell that I have some in a rattle can over there. Because I don't want to blast them and leave them raw, obviously. But black just doesn't seem to fit in my mind. And I think the hammered silver would probably suffice, because it's not like they're going to be seen a lot, except for Roger has suggested that I'll probably win Best in Show for door jams. He thinks those door jambs look spectacular, and I agree. They look great. But we commented that I'll probably, if they have a category for door jams, very likely I could win best in show for that. Best in show. Ish, my conscientious objective is to learn as much as I can from your channel. Cool. Let's see. Hiram, how do you remove modern Ford quick disconnect radiator hoses? Is it possible to retrofit them with warm gear clamps? They don't have pressure caps. Okay, so you're talking about the modern quick disconnect, where they're on the assembly line. They're designed for the guys just to push them together, and they've got a locking collar that snaps away. How do you remove them? They have tools for that. In fact, if you look up, I think I did a video, maybe not the best video, but I did a video on, I think it was Ford Expedition heater hose. I actually have a video on that because a friend of ours had a heater hose fail. And Ford has this ridiculous, they have like two little extensions and then a long piece and then two other pieces all connected together, but it's all quick disconnects. And I ended up using the quick disconnect tool to get it apart, but I ended up using like 2 pocket knives to get it apart. I used the pocket knives and did the same thing. The tool you're talking about, where does somebody buy that tool? Auto parts store. And from okay, let me show you if I can grab one real quick. I actually have some of those. I have to weave my way around. Now, this is not the, there's different varieties of these. You know, there's different companies that make these. They come in a kit. Okay. And they are different sizes. I think there may be even a size labeled on these. I don't know. Generally, you take these, and the way it works is you slip it around the hose and then slide it. And what it does, this collar goes underneath and flares apart the quick disconnect, and then you can pull the hose off. I may have that facing the wrong way. But anyway, you get the idea. Slide it back, and then it'll release. That's what these are. And they also have, you can buy these in plastic. You can buy them in metal. You can pay a lot of money for these if you buy them off like a Mac Tools truck or a Snap-on truck. But, you know, they sell these at the auto parts store. Quick disconnect tool. I don't know if there's a actual name beyond that, but look those up. Let's see. We had. Let me get caught up on my comments on the side here. Mason Fox. Garage heater. I have that Mr. Cool mini split mounted up on the wall. I think I have 3 or 4 videos on that. If you look up Mr. Cool on my channel, you'll see. Very nice. Very handy. Buy that tool in that larger diameter. I don't know, Summit Racing. I mean, you can get these, honestly, you can get these at AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly's, Napa. Just about any auto parts store is going to have these. Now, these are very basic, okay? But they might be enough to get you through your task. Roger, hands down, best door jams of show. What I said was Jade's door jams are nicer than a lot of show car paint shops. Hey, got to be known for something. That guy over there, he really knows how to make a door jam look good. That guy. Did you see his door jams? Bet Harry, if you want to have a good laugh, I sent you a picture of my paint booth from last summer. I needed to paint my hood for my 66. I have trust issues with letting people work on my stuff. I'm definitely on board with that. Okay. Hold on a second. Had another email in between there. Hey, that works, Harry. That works. I mean, I don't know if I'll share all these, but That works fine. And probably, I mean, honestly, I've seen people make paint booths out of just 1x2s and plywood, or I mean, and plastic. So yours is probably more high tech than some others. Let me show you real quick. I'll get the second image down. Okay, so here's the first one. And that I like the idea. It keeps it contained. Does the job, and there's your hood on the inside. Oh, you even had it on the floor. Yeah, that worked out good. Yeah, that works great. I wouldn't want to do a whole car in one of those, but it works great for what you were, using it for. Yeah, good job. Let's see, Mason. Do you have a TV out in the shop? Nope. One of his friends made a man cave, or your grandpa's friends made a man cave and has a flat screen TV on the wall. Yeah. No, I do work out here. I can't be having a TV. Cooter, there are a lot of us who care about original factory metal finishes and would appreciate some how-to from someone we trust. Yeah. I wish, I've looked at those door hinges. The difficulty is, like we were saying earlier, you could have zinc plated or nickel plated or whatever. If you were to, once they're blasted, you're really kind of stuck, because either you're going to be mimicking that effect, or you have to go back. Like Jeff was saying earlier, you can buy a kit so you could replate them. So that's, and I'm not going to spend the money on replating them. It's just not high on my priority. Now, if I was doing a, more of a restoration type of vehicle, maybe so. But for me, I'm just going to be probably pretty content to have them, silvery looking. But I get what you're saying. It would be nice to have a process on that so you can actually see how to do these things. Let's see, Hurst. I cut the bottom of a funnel and slotted it. Let's see. What are we talking about? I cut the bottom off a funnel and slotted it and slid it over and taped it on some fitting. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now. You're talking about, you made one of these tools out of a funnel. Not a bad idea. In fact, that might even work better, because some of these you can't, it's a hard time to get them in. But that might even, yeah, I could see that. That's a good idea. You get a bell. This has cost me nothing. Oops, cost me nothing, and the funnel still works. Yeah, good call. Hiram, you can put either Nason 2K activator or Magic Catalyst hardener in oil-based Rust-Oleum. They're both basically the same product. Okay. I'll take your word for it, but I'll give you a bell anyway, because I don't know. I'm not familiar with Nason or the Magic Catalyst hardener. I'm not familiar with those. Hiram, now that tent you put up in is one serious homeostatic environment for painting. If you're not proud, you should be. So there you go. Bad Harry, you're getting a comment from Hiram there. Yeah, that's a great idea. I know that I will say I've talked to somebody who painted a car in a homemade paint booth, and I see you have your tarp down on the floor, and they tried to use, or they did use, some of the static plastic and put it on the floor. It worked great, but the only problem with that, and he said it was a problem, that the clear coat stuck to it, and then trying to walk around on it became a hindrance. So it's not, the tarp probably would not create any problems like that, but you're and you don't know these things until you really try them, right? So like, I've used the static cling plastic many times. I had actually considered the idea of putting it on the floor, and thankfully I had some information from my friend. It said I had a problem with that because it stuck to my shoes or his Tyvek or whatever. And it became a problem. So I was like, okay, now I know for sure not to do that. But again, sometimes you don't know these things until you actually start trying it. But the tarp, I could see that working very efficiently, and because it's not going to pull up as easily. It's not as light. Cooter, I would really like to see you do a video on how you fix rock chips in paint. Let's just not use jade. Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know that that'll happen. I'll just say that because, a lot of that stuff we used to, at the body shop, it was different. We wouldn't really be concerned with rock chips too much. And maybe if there was a car that we were doing other work on, then we could address a rock chip at the same time. But the difficulty is, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier today. If you have a car, let's say a classic, not classic, modern car, and you have something happen to the fender, the typical repair on a collision job is to fix the fender. And I see my little Wi-Fi thing popping up over here. Typical repair is to fix the fender and blend the color into the door, and then clear coat the fender and the door together. The problem with that is I can see it every time when it's done. I can see it because when you add clear coat on top of a base color or on top of anything that's already been there, when you add clear coat, it changes, let's say, the dimension. It changes the color. It's typically, like silver is one of the worst. If you blended silver from a fender into a door and then you sprayed clear coat, it doesn't matter about that blend. I can tell you that from the door to the next door, it'll look different. It just does. There's no way around it. The only way around it is to do the whole panel or the whole car, kind of thing. So when I think about a rock chip, and I really don't want to think about a rock chip, but when I think about a rock chip in jade, I'm like, I'd have to like redo everything. Let's just say it never happens. Don't want to even think about it. Steve, Footage Factory. Steve, are you still in the States, or did you make it over to Scotland? Let us know. Not that it matters, but let us know. Hiram, I did something like that to route a PVC board inside of a keyboard case from the garbage to make case for the hand tools. Route a PVC board inside of a keyboard case for the hand tools. Okay. Oh, okay. I get. All right. I think I know what you're talking about, but I got to get some coffee. We're almost an hour in. I got to get some coffee. Anyway, Steve, since you're late to the show, I'll show you that. I just got to show you, Steve. That is the current status of jade right now. Well, actually past that point because I pulled all the paper out. In fact, I was talking earlier about how much I masked and prepped and everything. I pulled everything out of this car. Because I had the speakers in that car for the longest time and like a fuzzy, shelf thing on the package shelf, fuzzy carpet. I pulled that stuff out. I pulled the seat divider out in the back. I removed the seat belts. I removed everything out of this car that I could. And then as you can see in this picture, I taped off the entire roof of the car. So the inside of the sail panels, the whole roof structure, everything was taped off. Again, eliminate the variables. The floor was taped off. Of course, the trunk was taped off. You can see the paper in the wheel wells and on the floor coming from the back of the rocker panel. So, what was that Jurassic Park movie? Spare no expense is what they were saying when they were building the park. Let's see. Footage Factory. Steve, I'm leaving Wednesday for the land of Scots. My 68 is on a container somewhere over the Atlantic on the way to Europe. Well, I hope it gets there safely. I really do. Oh, that's bad. Yeah. You should see it in person. Steve, oh, I sold my Cody to a buddy going push rod. Not sure what though. Yeah, I still say that's a good choice. It is. It is. Let's see. Oh, Ben, I bought donuts for your coffee. Thank you. Donuts sound really good right now. Krispy Kreme. Of course, they're a lot more expensive than $5 for a dozen. But Krispy Kreme, if you've had Krispy Kreme, you know what I'm talking about. Hiram, basically like something similar to that tent awning, because if you put a plunge router through a PVC board, you have yucky plastic powder all over the place. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Marshall, got the dash painted and pretty happy how it came out. Deleted the pad and smoothed out the top. Hoping I can get the large panels in the car as good as yours. Barry, I'm going to try the 1200 wet sand. Yeah, well, you know what? The car itself, I went over the whole car. I did 400 DA. Then I did 600 wet to get it prepped for paint. Sprayed the paint, and then used the 1200 wet to fix any little flaws. So that's kind of, I mean, you could use 1200 on the primer if you wanted, but that's overkill. 600 will be fine. And then, of course, the paint, if you want to, touch it up with the 1200. But here, I got a new gas tank for my 67 Mustang. When I opened it, I could not believe the paint job on it. I am not even going to touch it. It is from Dynacorn. I sent a picture. Oh, cool. Yeah. Wow, that is nice looking. Holy cow. I'll just go ahead and download that real quick. Now, is that a pressurized tank? I assume, Harry. I assume. Because I see there's some wiring coming out of it. Or is that a regular tank? Let me pull down a comment here. Let me see if I get. Or no, it looks like it's got a standard filler neck. Is that a 22-gallon tank? I got to get that picture downloaded. Hold on. Because that one looks pretty good. Now you got me questioning my fuel tank. Let me get this one down. So let's look at that one. Okay, that looks like it must be a standard tank because it doesn't sit up very high. Usually the 22-gallon ones come up and meet more of the base of the drop-off panels. So I'm assuming that's a standard tank. But that does look nice. That does look nice. Battery. Okay, so there's a gas tank. Drag Boss. I put a video of me throwing my 44 Galaxy, I'm sorry, throwing my 44 Deluxe grill. Use some of your tips. Should check it out. Joe Daddy, thanks. Okay. Well, I'll have to do that. Marshall, we got some trash in the dash. Was thinking the 1200 would help. It's very possible it would help. I don't know if you sprayed it in single stage or you did a base clear. So in my case, I'm going to use single stage. The problem is, like, mine is not shiny. I'm not using a shiny paint, so I can't color sand and buff it because it won't work that way. If you've used base clear, yeah, you can touch it up with 1200, and then maybe use a small buffer to polish it up if you're looking for that. So, Bad Harry, it's a regular tank with a Holley EFI, 58 psi to feed the Coyote. Okay, cool. That's a good looking tank. Roger says you win best gas tank of show. Yeah, that looks really good. The thing is, like for me, I started on Jade. Started on it, 8 years ago. 2013 is when I started on that car, because I started on Jade when I left the body shop, and that was August of 2013. Now, of course, I built the light blue Mustang, the Mystique Mustang. I built the Brooklyn Pony, mostly, rebuilt a Dodge truck, worked on a variety of cars over that time period. But, the Jade has always been kind of pushed to the side. Okay. Oh, Drag Boss. Thank you, man. I think I can almost get that whole dozen Krispy Kremes. Thank you. But Robert's here. Infernal Craftsman. Glad you're here. But the whole time Jade has been pushed to the side. And over that time, I worked on the floor pans and aprons and the brakes and the suspension. The difficulty is when you do all that stuff over a long period of time, stuff collects dust and dirt or overspray. And that's going to probably eat me up some, because even now I look and I know there's overspray on the exhaust underneath the car, which is, I don't care, but I don't want it there, kind of thing. It doesn't bother me, but it's going to bother me. The rest of the car is going to get, the wheels will get sprayed with black undercoating. So I will go over the details underneath the car where I can and hit it with undercoating, just to dress it out. I'll try to clean up the rear axle again, because it was painted. All that stuff was painted. The only thing I didn't paint, and I'm still even debating on whether I'm going to change them out or not, is the leaf springs, because the car is sitting like this. The left nose is down. I don't know why. But I may have to fight with that as well. So that's something else on the list. But again, dressing things up underneath so that it looks good as well. Because, it's great to have a really shiny car, but we all know it's all the other details that help out. So if you're looking at a car and you're like looking underneath and you see grime or oil or rust or something, you're like, stay away from this thing. But all right, my Wi-Fi thing is, I don't know if I'm blurry or not, or if it's working okay. Better, looks like someone painted it and returned it. I expected to get a better galvanized tank. Well, maybe so. It looks good though. Whatever they did, it does look good. Don, looks like an 18-gallon tank. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's not the big tank. I think. I don't even know. What size tank came in that year model? Didn't the 5 and 6? I thought they had a 16-gallon tank. And then you could buy the bigger tank from like the 69. That was a 22-gallon tank, I thought. I could be wrong. I don't know. All right. My connection is unstable. At least that's what it's telling me. That's all I have to go by. Hold on a second. I'm going to see if... It's getting a little warm in here. See if I can get some fresh air coming in the door. That feels better. So anyway, it's been a good... Oh, let's see, Robert. Does anyone have their leaf springs re-arched anymore? I tried to have a place do them for pickup trucks, but that was years ago. I've seen it done, but I've only seen videos of somebody doing it, so I don't know. I've actually seen people run over them with a truck or something. I think they put they had them on blocks of wood. No, like maybe they were de-arching them, flattening them out. I think they had them on a road or something and drove a truck over them so that they flattened out more. But I don't know that I want to do that. That could be an option. Maybe I could get that right rear, bring it down a little bit. Maybe. Not sure I want to do that though. Okay. So as I was saying, getting stuff done in a car, sequence, getting things, in order and in line. I probably, I know if Dan's still watching, but I've worked some on the motorcycle, over the past few weeks. I've shared videos on that. And currently, I have the gas tank. I don't know if you can't really see, but I have it unbolted. And I was going to tell Dan, whenever I took the gas tank off, and I decided, well, I'm not going to paint it with, gas in it, so I need to drain it. So I had it sitting up on the table, and I had a gas can, a 1 gallon can, like a coffee can underneath. Opened up the valve, and it kind of just worked its way out. It took over a day. It took like 2 days for it to just drip out almost a gallon of gas, but it was very orangish brown, not good gas. So I'm glad we got that stuff out of there. It needed to come out. But anyway, whenever I'm doing the tank, I want to make sure that there's no junk, that could cause the paint to have problems. So, Robert, okay, we talked about that. Re-arch. March Indy. Atlanta Driveline might re-arch leaf springs. That's true too. I know they do drive shafts. I'm not sure what all they do because that's up in Forest Park, right? Because I've had drive shafts made up there. Yeah, I had drive shafts made. So Drivelines, is that the one you're talking about? I think it's Forest Park. Driveline Services or Atlanta Driveline Services. I'm going to have to give them a call. Not a bad idea. Thank you for that, Rick. Bad Harry, what color are you painting the dash? It's going to be black. Yep. It's going to be black. That was the factory color. And, when you look at that color of the car, and I'll just show it again because I'm here and I can. When you look at the color of that car, this car was a vinyl roof car, and I don't know what was on it, what color the vinyl roof was. I assume it was black because why would you put a different color on with a full black interior, right? But honestly, that color, like this Mustang, it looks like it has a black interior, but I could actually see this having a white interior. I really could. That color is so friendly to a white accent that I could see it being white. Now I'm not going to put white, but and of course the dash I would still do black. But anyway, the car had black, so it's gonna go back to black. Back in black. Rick Gain, hi all. Late getting here tonight. Glad you're here, Rick. March Indy, yes, Forest Park. Yep. Yeah, I know I think the last thing I had made there, I think, was the drive shafts for Frankentruck. I had the drive shaft made from them. Ish, I sent you an email, took your advice on a cleaner. Let's see if that came through. I'm getting other emails too. Oh, okay. Nice. Let me show that. That's a good thing to show. See if I can do this without my computer dying. Yeah, I'm almost beginning to think it's more of a laptop issue than the actual internet. Okay, so Ish bought himself an ultrasonic cleaner. That's pretty cool. He says, I will be testing it soon. I'll let you know how it works out. I went all out and bought a 30 liter. That's 30 liters? 30 liters. That's a good sized tank. Nice. I'm jealous. That's really nice. Let's see here. Go back, pull that off. All right. Comments. Rick, to those that remember my story, my car now has quarters clamped onto it. Welding will commence tomorrow. Let's hope that goes well. Wait a minute. Don. Betsy has 70 Boss 302 rear springs, higher spring rate. Interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for that, Don. Steve, I replaced my leaf springs with some from Dallas Mustang. I swear it sits 5 inches too high. Granted, the interior and gas tank are installed. We'll see if they were enough to bring it down. 5 inches? That sounds scary. That sounds kind of scary. That's way too high. Gordon, nobody likes you tonight. They are jealous of Jade. That's okay. Steve, mine's a 66 notchback. Yeah, there's not a lot of weight there. Not a lot of weight if you're sitting 5 inches high. Clark, 16. What did I miss? The gas tank? Are we back on the gas tank question? 16 gallon? Is that the answer? Okay. Robert, ultrasonic cleaners work great. Put your parts in a jar of the cleaner and just fill the tank with water. That's a thought. I didn't think about that. Instead of filling it with the cleaner, that's a good idea. So you just isolate it into like a quart jar of cleaner if your parts are that small, and then put it in water, and the water will force the ultrasonic effect through the glass. That's a great idea. I never thought of that. You get a bell. Ish, Infernal Craftsman will give you credit for letting me know about it as well. Cool. Steve, I know we have to get a different set. Dallas Mustang is long gone out of business. Oh, really? Robert, yep. Then you can use different cleaners as well. That's a very good point. And yes, using a jar keeps the tank clean. That's a great idea. Clark, I went to a spring maker that I used years ago, only found they closed up shop 10 years earlier. Yeah, there's a lot of places that are not here anymore, which is, I think back, and Rick and Roger too. Now I don't know how nationwide it was, but super shops. Remember super shops? They were like your performance place before Summit, or probably before Jegs. But super shops was a place, and there was one here in Atlanta, and it went out of business. And it probably went out of business 25 years ago, but still, you don't think about that anymore. Super shops, which is a great name for a performance place. Bad Harry's, yes, the 16 gallon, 69s have 20 gallon, and the 70s have a 22 gallon. Okay. Yep. Wally, lowering kit works well as an option. Yep. That is another thought. I was looking at the idea of what I can do. I know that Jerry had modified. He had some problems with his car not sitting level, and I think he put a block or something on one side to help compensate. I may have to just go that route just to keep it simple and, straighten things out. But we'll see. We'll see how it happens. Rick, super sticker. Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Robert, the 70 22-gallon tank is what is going in my 66. Yeah, at this point, I'm happy with what I have in Jade, but I may look to that later on down the road. We'll see how life goes. Oh, speaking of gas, apparently, and I don't know if it's just in Georgia, somebody has hacked the pipeline or something, feeding gas to Georgia. Maybe somewhere else, maybe even other parts of the country. But now there's a panic where people are racing to the gas station to buy up all the gas, of course. But somebody, I don't know what, hacked the pipeline for the main fuel coming into Georgia, I think. Not a good thing. Wally, he dropped his 1 inch, his suspension. Cool. Steve, yes, we had super shops. Yeah, it's been a long time. Long gone super shops. Armando, did you spray paint underneath the Mustang or did you spray some kind of undercoating? And also, what about the insides of the fenders? Thanks. Well, what I did is on the car, the main car, everything underneath is undercoated. I didn't want to paint. I'm not worried about it being all shiny and whatever. So I use a sprayable undercoating to address all that. And that's what I'll put in the wheel wells as well. Make sure all that's just coated, gives it color, a little bit of noise dampening. The inside of the fenders, I really didn't do anything in particular to those. The one fender I did put in a patch panel. So where the patch panel meets together, I did seam seal it because it had an overlap. So that is seam sealed. I may put some undercoating in there. It won't hurt to spray some. I could mask it off and just fog in some undercoating. But like I always try to point out to people, when you build these cars, in my case, I'm not going to be driving this every day or every other day or probably, once a week, whatever. I'm not going to drive it in the rain. I'm not going to be driving it in the snow. These aren't the same cars that they were when they were new, when people commuted in them. They had families in them all the time, and it was a work car and all that sort of thing. So a lot of this stuff is nice to have, but it's not the biggest priority in this case because it's going to be in the garage 99% of the time. So it'll be safe in there. Bad Harry, what finish are you going with for the gauges? I can't decide. I like them all. I was looking at those earlier today. Let me pull one out. I don't even know, because I ordered these a while ago. I don't remember what color I ordered. But that's what I went with. So I don't remember what the code was for these. These are the VHX 67F. It says black white. So that's what I went with. Dakota Digital. And of course, I'll have to put all that together as well. I have a brand new bezel. I have all that stuff that just needs to be pieced together, and that'll be a future video. Bob, a lot of businesses lately no longer here because of COVID. That is true too. Steve, do the bigger gas tanks hang lower or stick up more in the trunk floor? I think they sit up into the trunk floor, and they match the drop off more in level with the drop off panels. Because a 65 and 6, 7 and 8, I guess, sit lower, and I think they come up higher. Robert, I filled my gas cans as soon as I saw the news on the gas. Yep. Panic buys. That's what everybody's doing. And I don't blame you. The problem is, we always get concerned, well, everybody's just going to panic buy and use it all up. And then we're like, well, I have to be part of that because what am I going to do? Right? Kind of like, I don't know. It's where we are. Cooter says Colonial Pipeline was hit by ransomware. Yeah. Robert, the bigger tank sticks up. The bottom half is the same part. Okay. That's good to know. Rick, 22-gallon tank going in my 6x coupe. I understand it sticks up further in the trunk. Yes. Yep. I think we addressed that. Bigger tank is basically even with the trunk floor on both sides. Bad Harry, I tapped into the pipeline. I need fuel for the motorhome and race car this summer. You will have to come up to Canada for fuel. Yeah. Let's see. Samuel Lisa Smith, I wasn't going to say anything, but the paint looks slicker than a frog's hair. Let's look again. It's pretty slick. It's pretty slick. It actually, to me, it looks better today than it did yesterday when I took these pictures. I could be wrong, but I think it looks better today. I think overnight, the clear kind of may have settled out just a tiny bit more. I could be wrong. I know I shared a video on Patreon. I gave details about the process and stuff, and I do think it kind of overnight just calmly settled out a little bit more and looks better and better. And I'm really looking forward to. Let's see if I have any of those pictures from before. I don't think I do. I'm really looking forward to seeing it back on the ground with the big fat tires underneath it, the way it should look. I'm not going to put those back on until I sand and buff, though, because right now it doesn't matter. But I'll keep all that stuff, out of the way. Rick, my amp gauge doesn't work in my car. I have to bypass it to have anything work. Does anyone repair gauges? I'm sure people do, but I couldn't point you in a direction. I don't know for sure who you could use. Robert, the paint always looks better as it dies back and loses some of its reducers, etc. That is true. That's a good point. Mason, what kind of tires do you have on Jade? Also, what's the tire sizes on the Bald? Tire sizes on the Bald. Oh, on the back of Jade. Well, the rims on the front are 8-inch. The rims on the back are 9-inch, and they're 17s. I think the rears are 245. Well, I know if you've seen the videos, you've probably seen these. Let me pick this up real quick just to show you. These bad boys. The rear is 255 40 17. Yeah. 255 40s on the back, and I think the fronts are 225. I think. But yeah, 9-inch on the rear and 8-inch up front. Robert, when I finish fixing up daughter's house for her to sell, I'll have to fly out with a rack of ribs and see the new paint. Deal. Mason, those are some good tires. Yeah, they'll do. Yeah. I don't know what these are, but like I said, I can't wait to see everything back on the car. I'm so looking forward to seeing new taillights, new taillight bezels, new bumpers, new headlights, new side marker lights, new parking lights. The only thing it's not going to be new, well, I say it won't be new at this point, is the glass. I don't plan on replacing the glass. I don't plan on it, but I might, especially since Robert hooked us up with a link to some glass company that has sell you all the glass for a decent price. So I may have to go and put new glass in it. I might. I'm gonna have to clean it all and make sure, look at it, and see if it's good enough. But I don't know. Now that the car looks like it does, it's kind of hard to put crusty looking stuff in there. Just really, really hard to do that. Three Bells, those ribs must be good. They are good. I'll even give an extra bell because they are really good. Bad Harry, I meant, what finish are you going with around the gauge dash kit? Oh, I'm using the, what do they call it? Tuxedo. It's the black. It's the black finish. I'm not going to dig it out. It's in that box over there. It's the black finish on the 68 because I think 67 had more of a chrome finish. 68 is a black textured, you know, I've already got all the pieces for that. I think I've shown it before. But that's what all I can say at this point. The factory style black with the chrome around the edge is what I'm going to be using. Robert, I did not see the glass guys at the swap meet, but they may be at the next one later in the year. I want the smoke glass for the 66. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think about these things more and more, and it's like, stuff like the quarter glass where the pitting on the surface. Do you want to spend a ton of money on new quarter glass frames, or are you okay with a little bit of pitting? I might have to just be okay with a little bit of pitting, just kind of how it is. I think all the quarter glass and the side glass, I think, is fine. I mean, it's original. And it could probably, be polished or something to make it look even better. I'm not sure of the condition at this point of the rear glass. Again, it may just I may have to polish it and see if it'll clean up and look good. And then, of course, the windshield. And it is the original windshield from this car, at least as far as I can tell. It's the original windshield. And, this is all the green tint stuff because it was a factory AC car. So it's something I have to look at, something I have to consider. Now, since I pulled out the quarter glass, I'm going to replace the seals, on the edge of the glass because one of them's ripped and it makes no sense to not fix it while it's out of the car. I talked to Harvey about that. So that's something else I need to take care of. I think I have all the seals and everything else that I need to put it together. I know, I think I have all the seals, which is important, but again, it's part of that sequence type thing, right? And I have to test the door seals because a lot of people will complain, as they should, that you try to shut the door and, it won't shut all the way. So there's variations. There's, companies, I think Steel Seals and Soft Seal, and there's a Dan Carpenter version, and, different companies that make these things. And I've heard different, I've heard like Dan Carpenter, I think, is the best one out there. So when it comes to putting in my door seals, I may have to kind of put them in and see how the door reacts and whether I'm going to have to change them and get to a different brand. So just one of those type of things. Robert, the frames are very costly compared to other parts. I have a spare set for mine, but my driver's vent window frame is broken. Yeah, it's ridiculous what they go for. And if they could be, I guess they could be re-chromed, but they're pot metal. They're not great metal to begin with. Sammy, if the car is white on the inside, don't touch anything ever. True. Give you a bell for that. Bad Harry, I finally found fastback door glass last weekend. It is original, and I'm going with that with a few fine scratches, but I think you can polish out. But I think you can, that's what I'm thinking too. Although it would be nice, I guess, I say it's not a show car. And in most cases, it's not a show car. It's not meant to be a show car. But I do want to kind of use it in some aspect to showcase what is possible. Is it worth it to put in extra effort and money and stuff into glass? Maybe. But I'm not out to win a trophy. I don't care. I don't even enter cars. I've taken the Model A's to shows just to have it there. And a lot of people ooh and ah over the Model A. They love it. They ask lots of questions, and I'm able to, respond and talk to those people. And that's a good time for me. That's a good time because, I can talk, right? So when people start asking me questions on the Model A, I give them all the information I have on those cars. I figure if they're going to ask a question, it's my privilege to tell them what I can about that. But as far as taking it somewhere and going, I hope I win a trophy, I don't care. Because I already know a lot of the times a car that goes to a show, and wins X, best interior or best paint or best this or best that or best of show. A lot of the time it's just perspective. It's what some people think. Like, oh, that car has the best interior I've ever seen. Well, if that guy's the judge and he loves it, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. So, besides, if I were to get a trophy, I don't even know what I'd do with it. I mean, I might put it on. I don't know. I had a trophy because I went to a cruise-in car show as a promotional thing for a small theme park here locally. And I took the vehicle, and the Model A won Best of Show, but there was only like 20 cars there, so it wasn't that big a deal. But then I'm like, what do I do with this thing? This trophy was like 2.5 feet tall, and it really, generic trophy. Best of Show. Great. What do I do with it? But there's some people that's what they live for. They want to have that accolade. They want to have that acknowledgement of the work that went into the car, and I get that. I'm not that guy. As far as don't throw a trophy at me. Don't. I don't want. No, I'm not worried about it. I'd rather just let people see it, and know what can happen and what you can do, than to get some sort of trophy. Rick kills me. I gave my 66 coupe away 20 years ago. Should have kept the wing windows. They were fine. Yeah. Yep. Ricky and I have won enough trophies for my car. They just take up space. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's only a trophy for that event. And to me, once the event is over, now what? I take it home and I put it on a shelf and I go, hey, look, I won a trophy at the local cruise in at the pizza joint. It just not that appealing to me. But I do get it when people put in their, because my cars, I've said it before, a lot of times when I do a car, I'm happy when it's done, except for Jade at this point. When it's done, I never want to see it again. I'm fine. I'm on to the next thing. I want to get to the next project and do something else. So I just, I can't. The car that I've had the longest at this point, I think, is probably the Model A. I think. I mean, that's the longest I've kept a car, any car. Of course, it was a family car. But I just don't. Anyway, I'm not worried about trophies and stuff like that. Robert, I'll take a gift card for the value of the trophy instead. I don't need any more crap to store. Yes. That's right. You're just storing a trophy at this point. But I've seen some people, I mean, granted, now they put their life into these cars. And it may be the only car that they ever have. And I get that. I just, they wax it and buff it and polish it and clean it and detail it. And that's their whole life. And I get it. If that works for them, fantastic. I can't do that. I mean, once I get done, I hardly even wash the cars we drive, much less, the Model A has never been washed. All I've ever done to it is use McGuire's quick detailer, wipe it off. That's all I ever want to do. I don't want to do any more than that. I don't want to clean the engine. I don't want to clean the bottom of the car. I don't want to. You can't make me. Bad Harry car guys see that original logo on the glass. They get it. Perfect and shiny, not always the best. The paint will shine in their eyes and not see the flaws. True. Good point. Cooter, having an inline six, I'm never up for a trophy. My reward is just talking to the guys who appreciate it for what it is and how nice I've kept it. Yes. And I get that. And I've had some great conversations with people, and I mean, I've been around cars all my life, so there's a lot of information that we can share and relate to, and it makes it a great experience. Clark, has anyone used GPS Speedo in a 68 Mustang? Good question. Only on my phone. Only on my phone. Steve, I watched your video on removing the rear quarter window. Helps, but still doesn't look fun. Did you end up needing to bend that piece back in shape? I will end up needing to bend that regulator back into shape. The the hardest part with that, and again, I took them out late in the game, so use that to your advantage. If you're starting a project and you know you're going to be doing all this stuff, right? Now, aside from like Robert, who cut off his quarter panels and had access to his windows real easily there, but if you're going to be doing that, the hardest part, of course, is getting it apart because of all the gunk that's in the tracks. So, what do? You fight with it, wrestle it out, or spray it up, lube it, let it soak, let everything soften, because you're going to be taking everything apart anyway, or doing other work to the car and eventually cleaning it all out. Maybe that works best. Get it all cleaned up, and work the thing apart. And then once that makes it a lot easier. But for me, having to fight with that stuff, that was not fun. But yeah, I'll have to straighten out that other regulator. And like I said, I'll clean everything, give it some good lubrication, and hopefully everything just works like a nice clock. Jessica would get best project car and once a daily driver trophy. Yep, they took up space. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I know guys that's they live for those trophies, and that's okay. I'm just not that guy. Not that guy. In fact, there's cars that I've worked on that have won trophies. But I'm happy for them to get the trophy because of the work that I did to their car. Robert, the 66, when done, will be washed at the car wash. They do hand washing for a fair price. No desire to wash it myself. Yeah, I don't even like the idea of getting water on the car. Because, I get it. I do. But I'll just use McGuire's Quick Touch. It does such a great job of getting dust and stuff off of it. That's probably all I'll ever use on the car. Jessica, the Model A would be the only thing running in the event of a bad sunspot. That is true. And that car is 90 years old this year. 90. Crash Rider, I would rather win a gift card for a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts rather than a trophy. Yes. Give you 2 bells for that. Let's see. Rick saying nothing wrong with an inline 6. They can look nice, really nice in an engine bay. Yes, they can. Robert, spray paint the bolts before you take the bolts out. Then you have a ballpark for where to be align the regulators and tracks when you put them back in. Yeah, that's a good call. Now, what I will probably do, honestly, I don't know that I will actually clean up, the plate. I took the plate out where it sits on the rocker panel. I doubt that I'm going to clean that plate. It has the witness marks where the bolts were on. The main plate, I doubt that I'm going to clean that up. Again, I don't need to, but I can, I can clean the tracks, take care of the tracks and the rollers, and the rest of it, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to make it all shiny and clean. But those witness marks are very important. Good call. Bob, all of our track trophies are on the shop building frame, on the shop building frames way up high, taking up space. Yep. Ish. Donut money. Thank you, man. I'll take advantage of that. My wife will say, go get some Krispy Kremes. Krispy Kremes are like, I don't know. They're it's like kind of like crack cocaine, I think. You start eating Krispy Kremes and you just space out. Oh, look at this. Dawn, no trophies for Betsy. My reward is miles of smiles. Yeah, that's a good call. Fabulous Fortunes. Krispy Kreme has been around almost as long as a Model A. Yeah. Well, there's a Krispy Kreme right up the road in the next town up from us. Probably, I don't know, 7-8 miles away. There's a Krispy Kreme, and that's where they make them. It's not a store. It's the actual place where they, make them on a conveyor belt and the sugar's falling. You walk in and you get, a sugar buzz from just inhaling what's in there. Yeah. It's hard to compare anything to Krispy Kreme. Don Thompson's All of Betsy's regulators need help. Yep. Yeah. And that's where, even like I've got to put all that stuff back together. Well, I think the regulators are still in the doors for Jade, but I took the glass out. And so all that's got to go back together. And I may be fighting with, a lot of that to get it back together. Because I think when I took the glass out of the doors, I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I didn't like draw a map and say, oh, this goes here and this goes there. The advantage is the car tentatively known as Red Dave, the 68 coupe that I have sitting in the garage, will be my template. So if I have to, I can look at the doors on Red Dave and go, oh, that's where that goes. Put it back together. Roger, you can pop Krispy Kremes like Pez. Yeah. Rick, thanks for making me hungry for a donut. Yeah. Well, what kind of donut, Rick? The sugar glazed, the standard sugar glazed Krispy Kreme. My favorite is the chocolate ice cream filled. I can't stop myself. And then if you add in like the peanut butter ones, look out. But the chocolate ice cream filled, that's the way to go. Of course, I'm a sucker for the jelly donuts too. I like having stuff inside, like a little treat inside the treat. It's a bonus. Now I want to go get donuts. Bad Harry, you look a lot less stressed now that Jade is painted. Yeah, I feel a lot less stress. I definitely do feel a lot less stress on the whole process. Now, but of course, a new stress is created. You know why? Because now I have to be extra careful working on the car and getting around and doing things on the car. Before, you brushed up against it. I'm going to be painting that later or whatever. I'm carrying a fender around, a clunk. Oh, I hit the quarter. Oh, it's okay. That is gone. So now a new stress is created. But I'll deal with that stress. Now that the paint is done, it'll be less of a stress, but it's still there. Robert, someone destroyed all my regulators since they were stuck. I went electric, but way too pricey. Yeah. Yep. Did you say tentatively? Yes, I did. Tentatively known as Red Dave. Rick Gain, sugar glaze for me. Yeah, that works. Kudulev, I agree. I love the inline sixes, which are becoming more one V8 conversion at a time. Yeah, more rare. And you're seeing the prices. People are asking some pretty serious numbers on the 6-cylinder cars now. Because people are buying them up. People are buying them up. I'm still looking for others. I wouldn't mind having several sitting around waiting, to get attention down the road. But the biggest problem is, of course, storage. That's the hardest part. And of course, I still have the Camaro to build, and this other car that's up here on the lift. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. What else was there going on? I was trying to think. Oh, yeah. Not that this is that important, but it is kind of important. When I've done my other paint stuff, I don't know how or why or whatever, but these are the little box fans that I've been using, right? These are from Lasco is the name of them. Now you can see all the paint dust on these, right? Well, when I was considering, I was doing prep work and going, what can I eliminate from the equation that'll cause problems? When I started to box out the windows with the shrouds, basically, I already knew this, but I didn't realize it. You see that blade? That blade's it's missing a chunk. This blade right here, it's missing a big chunk out of it. Well, what that meant was this thing was sitting there in the window doing this the whole time. So I went and bought a new fan. That fan is, I don't know how old that fan is. It's got to be 20 years old. I went to Walmart, exact same fan. They still sell them exactly the same, so it fit right where I needed it to. But again, little details that you kind of forget about. So that blade being broken, shaking that fan, it's allowing debris to get blown around and cause problems. Ish, I agree. Storage is my 4-letter word. Too expensive. Yeah. Yep. Crash Rider used to sell KK Glaze for fundraiser. Have you ever smelled 70 dozen freshly made while delivering it in a van? Heaven. I'm telling you, you walk in the Krispy Kreme store up here. I mean, you walk in, your head explodes. There's so much. And then the coffee, you get the coffee and the Krispy Kremes. I'm going to have to go to the store. I'm going to have to go to the store tonight. Let's see, Dawn. After the first ding, you can relax. Yeah. Well, there's actually, there are flaws in the car. There are flaws. I built in flaws. After taking your advice, you had said that if you shoot for perfect and you're always stuck in that, protecting it, but if you have a flaw, you're relieved of that pressure. So there are a few flaws, but most people won't see them. I know where they're at. I pointed them out to Roger, and Harvey knows. But once this thing is out in the sun, and the sun's bouncing off of that clear coat, blinding you, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. Rick, Barry, call Uber Eats, have them deliver some Krispy Kreme. I drive for Uber Eats, so I could just call myself. Hey, maybe I should do that. I could start my Uber Eats delivery. I could make an order. I think your first order is like free. Oh, it might be onto something. I could just order my own Krispy Kremes and then accept that order, go get them, and get paid for picking up my own Krispy Kremes. That's a great idea, Rick. That's a great idea. Cooter, before you sign off, do you have any pictures of Jade you want to show us? You know what? I think I do. Let me look real quick. Oh, look. I have a picture right there. Maybe I have another picture I could show you. Let me download this one quick. Yeah. Glad you asked. We got one more picture I'll show you. Now, again, these pictures were taken yesterday. While it was, still freshly cured, or freshly cleared. So there's another shot. Just because you asked. So good reflections. Good reflections. Rick, then you get paid for bringing yourself food. Yeah, that's a great idea. Crash Rider, are you sure that's not blue? I am 100% sure it's not blue. 100% sure that is not blue. Not blue. It's aqua. Dale, what if someone beats to accepting for Krispy Kreme? I'd have to take that chance, I guess. I'm pretty quick on the Uber. I'm pretty quick when I see something pop up. Let's see. John, what is a good sealer to use between enamel paint, single stage, and primer surfacer? Between enamel paint. So you're trying to seal enamel paint, is what you're saying. and then primer surfacer. I don't have a good answer for you, because normally, I don't have a good answer for you. I've not dealt with that specifically, so I can't say if somebody else may have a good answer for you. But I don't have a good answer for you. But that's a good question. Jessica, you ever get to SoCal do donut? I guess that's derelicts. Car show not organized. No trophy BS. It is very early AM. Okay, well, probably won't make it, but thank you for that. Hindsight, the pictures don't do it justice, but they do look good. Yep, it's not blue. Gordon, here's your trophy. Awesome, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Roger, it's not blue. Yes. Robert, it looks more green in the picture you sent to me than it does on the TV. I don't know enough about color, temp, etc., for taking pictures and getting them to turn out right. I don't either. I mean, but I can tell you that's not. It's green. It's more green. Cooter, the reflection of the light shows just how straight your bodywork is. Bravo, bravo. Yeah. Well, I think I might have. Where did I do that? Hold on a second. I think I have a different shot. Yeah. Let me download that one. One more here. Pull this one up. And again, this was soon after the clear was on. So it does look a lot better now. Like we were saying, with the chemicals coming out and it flattening out, it's working out really nice. Let's see. Gordon, nice thumbs up. Yes, thank you. It does look really nice, though. Yeah. Thank you, Crash Rider. Rick, I wish my car were green. Had I not had a blue-white pony interior, I would have had it painted green. Yeah. Robert, are you happy with how the spray gun is working? I'm thinking of getting one of them. Yeah. I mean, it seems to be working fine. I've mentioned before that I'm using the Harbor Freight Black Widows. I use the one gun for primer, one gun for base, and then I use that DeVilbiss gun for clear. But I've seen people using the Black Widow for everything. They're spraying everything with the one gun. I don't think I'd want to do that. I like the primer gun for, it has a bigger tip. But the clear coat, they were spraying it all with the Black Widow, and it seemed to be working fine for them. But I use that DeVilbiss gun for the clear. Bad Harry, I've been to car shows. They give out trophies, but the best prizes were engines and tires, things a car guy really needs. Yes. Yes. Steve, that's so shiny you could shave in that reflection. Well, and here's the thing. It's not done yet. I mean, I agree. It looks fantastic, but it's not done yet. It looks better today than it did yesterday because, it's still settling out. But it's still going to get color sanded and buffed. And if it goes according to my plan, then you won't see any of that texture. When you look at the lights, you're going to see a light. You're not going to see all the little edges where it's fuzzy. Again, according to my plan. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully. Amar, 50,000, almost there. Yeah, it's getting close. It's getting close because, you know, it still bugs me sometimes when I think about it. There's other channels that have, I don't want to use the word inferior, but maybe inferior content, um, or don't show you as much detail or as much information or share as much as I put out there. You know, have 100,000 subscribers in, like no time. But it is what it is. But 50,000, I have to go with what I get. Can't do much about it at this point. Just how life is. Let me see here. So Robert sending me pictures of donuts. Thanks, Robert. Thanks. Okay, Mr. Scrambler sent me a link about leaf springs. Okay, that's good to have. Cooter, you need to bring Jade to the Great Mustang Roundup September 3rd through 5th in Mustang, Oklahoma. A lot of your Midwest fans would love to see her. You know, I would love to take her up there. I really would. I can't say it'll happen. There's a lot of things I would like to do that just can't always work out. I'm debating on doing SEMA this year, whether I might go to SEMA. I have people asking me about that already. And I don't know that I can manage to work it out between family life. There's family comes first regardless. And I just don't know that it would work out. But I mean, there's lots of things I would like to do. I'd like to go up to Carlisle. I know they have a big Mustang show up there, and I'd like to do Cruising the Coast. I think that would be fun. But no, not really. Things just don't always work out the way we hope. Ish, you have smart viewers. We watch the best of the best. Thank you, Ish. I'll give you a bell for that. Kuderlev, I'll buy dinner is what I assume that says. Well, I've had I think Wally offered me some beer to come up and paint his car up in Canada. I don't know. Sounds tempting. No, I don't know where Nick is. Nick has not been here. I wonder if he's listening in. Nick Moss. He's wanting me to paint his car. I just don't know. Let's see. Oh, and Cooter says, and drinks, of course. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of things I would like to be participating in that just, life gets in the way. Life gets in the way. And that's okay. That's how it is. We all have we have things we have to do and we need to do. And we, just the way it is. It's just life. So anyway, I'm getting ready to call it a night. It's been great having everybody here. Let's see, Harry. Being a beginner when it comes to painting a body, it is what I don't know that scares me. Yeah, it's the same way with me. When it comes to actual paint work and stuff. Yeah, that's always a cause of concern. Now that I have my door open, I'm getting little gnats flying in. Amar, yes, for sure, your content is amazing. Once you get around 50,000, your channel will start to grow faster because now you have 50,000 people following you and sharing your content as well. Keep up the amazing work. Well, thank you for that. I hope that's how it works. I hope, I don't know. We'll wait and see. I'm still hoping one day. I don't know if you've seen, there's a TV show out. I think it's called Full Custom Garage. I think. Have you ever seen that show? It's this guy. I think he's out in California. I don't know for sure. Somewhere out. Anyway, he's a pretty good sized guy, like tall, big. He's bald or shaves his head bald. And he's got this show. I think it's called Full Custom Garage. It's just him. He just talks to the camera. He's very low key. And he's like, well, today I'm going to work on this Volkswagen and I'm going to put this body on this car. And I might have to do this or I might have to do that. We'll see. And these are my dogs, kind of thing. And I'm like, how does this guy get a show? I'm jealous. So I'm like, he's a one guy. I know he has people help him occasionally, but like he's a one guy show. I think it'll be fantastic to have that kind of somebody come up and say, "Hey, we want you to do a show on this." Well, sign me up. Get me started. Ben, it's like watching or waiting for Marvel Comics books. Next edition, stay tuned for the legend of Dave and Jade. A Red Dave and Jade. Yeah. And yes, it is called that. Okay, yeah. Full Custom Garage. Kudolev, come promote your channel, then it is a business expense. Good call. I like that idea. Robert, I do what I can to get others to watch your stuff. Oh, and I finally have some vids coming out again. Been busy with other stuff. Well, good. You need to put more stuff out there. You do good stuff. Good videos. Rick, Ian Russo does Full Custom Garage. He does some interesting stuff. I'm sure you can do the same. Yeah. Yep. Jessica, take care. All right. Glad you were here. And Amar, more videos on T100. There will be. Not this week. I'm kind of pushing myself back onto Jade a little bit. I want to take care of the buffing and all that stuff. The next thing I'll probably do is work on getting the paint on that tank. So I have the paint. I just need to get it prepped and ready to go. The other thing I have to do is build some brackets. I don't know if I'll make a video on that because I'm going to put brackets underneath to hold all the modules and junk and get those in place. And then that might be it. That might be it, but we'll see. Okay. I'm going to call it a night. Oh, Crash Rider says, great show tonight. I'm green with envy, but it still looks blue to me. Okay. So I'm going to call it a night. Again, thank you all for being here and following along and giving me some things to talk about and share some laughs and some pictures. And, it's good to have these type of conversations. I'd rather be doing this than watching some TV show and hanging out with y'all. And then we can, do it again Thursday. And yours, I can tell Thursday. I'll give you a heads up. I don't know. The end of the month, I'll be out of town. You all know my brothers passed away about a month ago, and there's going to be a service for him back in Pennsylvania. So I'm participating with that. Again, family comes first. So I don't know how that weekend is going to play out and whether I'll be back on Monday or not. Just giving you a heads up. Just think about it, coming forward. But otherwise, thanks for being here. And thanks for all the questions and answers and all the donut money and all that stuff. Coffee money. Yes. Good deal. But I'll be back Thursday at 3. And then, of course, this coming Monday at 7, we'll do it again. But until that time, take care of yourselves. See ya.